Welcome, students, and prepare for another episode of DC Graduates. I'm one of your teachers, your doctor recommended dose of nerdiness, aka your nerd of day, Carlos Rodriguez. And as always, I'm joined by my teacher in crime, Sly. Sly, how are you?
Great. We haven't done one of these in a hot minute, but it's fine. We'll get back in the groove real quick.
Exactly. The audience doesn't know. This is going on
Yeah,
like nothing.
Everything's the same to y'all.
Yeah,
but
no one got COVID. There's not walls on my house finally. You know, there's not a lot of crazy shit going on in my life.
I haven't worked for the past 5 days straight, and I'm losing my mind. It's fine.
slowly. But besides that, we have a special lecturer. Why don't you introduce yourself to the classroom and tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure. I'm Troy, or Troidal Power, and I do. Excuse me. I burp when I do my introductions. It's a thing I do all the time.
Nice.
Known for it. I do a bunch of podcasts. My podcast is Troidal Power Presents Power Playthroughs Podcast. Nope. Troidal Power presents the Power Playthroughs podcast with Troidal Power. I forgot just tripped up on my own. Which is it's like Twitch for your ears. It's me playing a game and describing it as I play it, so that you can get the experience of a Let's Play without seeing it. Except I also do video versions that you can watch on YouTube too. But if you want to hear somebody struggle through Legend of Zelda: Oracle of Ages while you're driving to work, I'm your guy. And then I'm also part of a network which has a show called Podcasters Assemble, where a whole bunch of people submit their thoughts on movies and we edited them all together. That's kind of the show that's most relevant, I feel like, to this audience. We've done we did some of the Snyder movies on there. I want to say we have not done the animated movies. The show started with me doing all of the Marvel movies daily leading up to Endgame, which was a terrible idea and nearly killed me and my love of podcasting. Luckily, I found a bunch of cool people through that process who have now taken over the show, and now I just get to listen to a podcast that feels like it was made specifically for me.
I love that.
Those are the two that are like
what this podcast is.
I can see
it's so great.
yeah.
I'm like, this show is like a format I would love. Oh, because I did the format, and then they're just okay, it makes sense.
I can see how that would break you though, like doing a one movie every day.
I started with about 5 days of a head start, if I remember correctly. So I got the first 5 movies done basically editing daily, and then that 5-day head start just got shorter and shorter as the time went on. It was a bad idea, but it was a lot of fun, and I made a lot of really good friends from it. So I do not regret it. But whew.
Those lead ups, I always feel like just get shorter out of nowhere. Like for context, for everyone watching, this is episode 1 of 2 that we're filming tonight, and then next week we're doing 1 of 2, and then because we got backed up because I got
for the
sick
next 3 weeks we're doing back to backs. It's fine.
And it's like I got worried because I was like, oh my god, do we have an episode this week? I'm like, we do. I just haven't edited it yet. And I was like, well, everything's back to normal. I can edit it these 3 episodes and put them up and then feel better. But then we have to play catch up, which is awesome. But it creeps up out of nowhere. Like real life just comes out of nowhere. The next thing you know, like, wait, what? What do you mean we don't have a new episode up?
I just gave up on editing after that. Is my strategy. Is my show's basically entirely unedited at this point. I did a lot of editing in that month. I'm done with it. Other people can edit if they want to.
Yeah. I can see why Mario brought me on. He's like, I'm gonna need help editing, so whatever you do, you have to edit yourself. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. And he's like, I'm out. Bye. Wait, what do you mean? Who else edits? Fuck. All right, but pleasantries aside, thank you, Troy, for joining us today. We are talking about Batman Bad Blood from 2016, part of the DC AMU. It was directed by Olivia, written by
I think.
Olivier. That's what I think, right? That's what I would pronounce Olivier. Written by J.M. Demetis. Studio, as always, is WB Animation. Stars Jason O'Mara, Seward Allen, Sean Baer, Miranda Baccarin, Yvonne. I've never been able to pronounce her last name. From Chuck
Strakovitsky.
Thank you. I was like
Strakovitsky,
the only good person probably from Chuck on that cast. Dexter, you know her from Mass Effect 2 and 3. Steve Blum, John DiMaggio, Robin Atkinsdowns, Vanessa Marshall, Matthew Mercer, Carrie Walgreen. Troy, we'll start with you. What's your history with this movie?
Before I get to that, I have to tell you, I was like,
Yeah.
Matthew Mercer was in this? So I Googled Matthew Mercer DCAMU, and Google helpfully brought me a link from Wikipedia, letting me know that he plays Luke Skywalker in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Cool, Google. Not what I asked at all. Thanks.
Complete different.
Not super
To
helpful,
answer that
but
question,
okay.
I always wondered who played him and played him in that, but okay.
So I'm sorry. My history with this movie is the question.
Yes.
I got very distracted by that. This is my first time seeing it. I've
Okay.
never watched the DC animated movies before. I decided to, like last summer, I think is when I kind of started slowly working on watching these. Obviously very slowly. And a lot of that's because I repeatedly would go to watch a movie that had been on Max and then it wasn't on Max anymore. And so I was like, okay,
Yes.
the library got it. I ordered Throne of Atlantis, and by the time I got around to watching the DVD I bought off eBay, it was back on Max again, which was really aggravating.
Yeah.
When I got to the movie before this one, which is Batman vs. Robin, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not on Max, not
No.
available anywhere. Library has a copy though in the collection that Slice mentioned before, that giant 18 DVD collection. That is the only version of these
Correct.
movies that my library has. So
Well, it
I
has
watched
Batman v Robin and Batman Blood for you.
so I watched both of those on the DVD, returned them this was about a week and a half ago, and then like the next day I got a message from you being like, hey, don't forget you're going to be on our Bad Blood episode. And I was like, oh shit, I definitely forgot that. And I no longer have the libraries for the DVD because me and one other guy are fighting over this 18 film collection. And so then I had to go order it online to have a copy of it. And then when I got the code in, I messaged a friend who shares their Voodoo with me on the download and was like, hey, what's up? This Blu-ray I got a code. It says it's expired, but you can try it if you want. And he's like, all right, sure. What's the movie? And I was like, Batman Bad Blood. And he's like, that's already on my Voodoo. You've had access to that this whole time. And I was like, great.
Oh
So I
no!
threw the Blu-ray out the window. That's been my journey with this movie.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, listen, first of all, shout out to public libraries. They have
absolutely.
Yeah.
I
they're
love
amazing.
my library.
They are great. We need to support them, especially in these trying times. Secondly, you came into a perfect before we go on the slide in my history with this, we can get into this segment that we always dedicate to David Zasloff. Fuck you, David Zasloff. Why is this not all? Why is this not all Max? Again,
Looney
AEW's
Tunes is
all
gone
Max.
now.
This
He just deleted Looney Tunes. That's gone.
All Looney Tunes.
Just all of Looney Tunes. It's gone.
Just gone.
Like, that was like,
for what?
It's their thing. They own it. Just put it there.
They've always owned it. Like they've owned it for so goddamn long. Like why? Why would you get rid of them? Why would you? It's so hard to watch these cartoons now.
When we were lied to about the cord cutting future of streaming, I don't know who started it. David Zaslav is the current like arbiter of my hatred for it. But I know he didn't start it. It was always a big lie that it's just you're gonna have all the movies forever until we decide not to let you anymore.
Yeah.
Forever. Asterisk. Until we decide not to.
And then remember it was weird like when Disney started and it was like, why are these movies not on here? It was like, all right, we gotta be honest with you. We have previous license agreements. They're gonna be on these other streaming things for like 3 months. And then I'll come here or like a year.
You'll get Spider-Man eventually.
Yeah, but
eventually.
All right, Sly, what's your history with Batman Bad Blood?
Yeah, this one, just like the previous episode, like I remembered broad strokes. I like kind of recalled the plot or whatever, but all the like nitty gritty details about like the film and the plot itself had completely left my mind. Revisiting them, I remembered liking last week's episode much more than I think I really did. And then this one, I remembered not liking it as much as I probably should have, because this film fucking slaps. This is incredible. It checks all of my boxes. I don't know why this one was like not retained in the memory bank of like movies I adore. But yeah, it was great. I had a blast.
Yeah. This is my first time watching it, and I remember not hearing a lot of great things, but I sat down to watch it and I enjoyed it a lot. My only concern is one of our topics for the Romano roundup. But just because it's a weird touch point, like that's a weird storyline to pull from anything. But I really enjoyed my time with this, but it being my first time watching this film. Yeah, I don't know. For me, so obviously we also mentioned this before, not streaming on Max. If you have friends with Voodoo, if you have, a pirate crew and you want to sail the seven seas, go ahead, you do that. Or you can be like Sly and have this 80th anniversary collection on Blu-ray and have all of them on there.
Unfortunately, it's only going to be relevant for like 3 more movies in the like entirety of this podcast, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It is a weird collection of movies. I didn't know that collection existed. I thought my library had just shoved a bunch of DVDs together, and then I got them like, oh, this was a product that was sold at some point. Is we found every movie that has the word Batman in the title and put it all on here. Are they cohesive? Wow, not really.
I sent it as a joke in our little Discord channel for like DC graduates. I was like, as a joke, I sent to Sly. I was like, hey, Sly, look. And then next thing you
half off.
You bully you like next message was you bullied me to buy it. I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean I bullied you?
How could I not?
You're just as bad as Frank with buying stuff.
Listen, you also sent me the Batman, the 2004 animated series that I did have to buy that immediately.
Well, yeah, you're obsessed with that show, so that's different. Yeah,
that's the CGI one with Pig and Toad and.
No, I know what you're talking about, but no, that was the.
You're talking about the one with Dreadlock Joker, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes. That's the Batman. What is that the one called?
I know what you're talking about. I've never seen an episode. I've only seen the art, and I always forget that it exists.
It's got some good Alfred stuff. That show.
Beware the Batman.
Beware the Batman.
Yeah.
That's all Max.
Alfred in that one does not mess around. Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Yeah, that's all Max. That's no problem. That's all Max. But this movie, God fucking forbid.
No, can't have this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Except by the time this comes out, it'll be on there again, and they'll have taken something else down in its place. I was so mad when I realized Throne of Atlantis was on there because I didn't realize it until I watched the DVD version, and it looked all shit. The same thing with this one, where I watched the first viewing of this movie was the DVD version of it, and it looked crappy. And then I watched it on Blu-ray and was like, ooh, this is really pretty.
That's always the case. Or you know what? The other thing that pisses me off, because we've mentioned this before as well, when streaming stuff comes, like WB has some kind of like deal with Disney, Fox, whatever it may be, with Tubi, because a bunch of shit's on Tubi. But like, it's not this one. Like this movie's not on there. Like, God damn it! Like, why? Just put them. If you're not gonna put them somewhere else, just put them somewhere. Just anywhere. Prime. Yeah. Put them on Prime. Put them somewhere else. If you've got
a movie universe with continuity, it benefits you to have them available, even if they're in different places. That's good because then people are going to subscribe to multiple things. But if you just don't make it available, then it takes me 6 months to watch 5 movies into a series, or however far this is.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. All right, moving on. Sly, hit us with the plot recap.
We're gonna force our guests to do that because we have a guest to read the plot recap for me, so I don't have to suffer.
That's right.
I'll read the one that somebody else wrote first, and then I'll read mine. Bruce Wayne is missing. Alfred covers for him while Nightwing and Robin patrol Gotham City in his stead, and a new player, Batwoman, investigates Batman's disappearance. My alt
just
one
like
was
the default cookie cutter, like really whatever they put on IMDb.
I didn't write a full one. I just wrote like a joke of that, which is when Batman gets kidnapped by Batman, Junior Batman Sr. and Junior Batman Jr. join forces with Woman Batman and Iron Batman.
Which is great. Perfect.
I think that covers it.
No.
I didn't mention Butler Batman, but he's in the mix too.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't get a cowl.
My beloved.
It's true. He doesn't need one. That's how badass he is. Like, I want motherfuckers to know who I am when I'm doing this shit. All right, Troy, hit us with
Alfie
the
got some action this movie.
These last 2 movies, he's been like full force, like doing shit, and he's got a body count.
Alfred.
And these last 2 movies,
people die in this movie. Oh boy, do people die! I did this into y'all's Son of Batman, where you were debating does Batman kill people? And then I watched this movie and I was like, I don't think Batman kills people in this one, but people definitely die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Despite people trying to save them, so many people die. It's like, God damn. There's like at least 4 people that are like, I really didn't mean to kill that motherfucker, but me doing it.
Alas.
Yeah.
Were you asking me to list off the characters?
Yes, please. The comic book characters.
We of course we have Batman. We have Batwoman, Nightwing, and Robin. Alfred is here. Batwing is here. Batwing's dad is here, which isn't on this list, but I think Lucius should get a shout out.
Oh, that's true.
Lucius should get a shout out.
We've got Talia, we've got Jake Kane, Renee Montoya, Blockbuster. I'm not sure which one that is, but I'm sure we'll get there. Calculator, Electrocutioner, Firefly, Tusk, Killer Moth, all working together, and then Onyx and Mad Hatter and Heretic. There's a lot of villains in this one.
There is.
Oh yeah.
And I think most of them don't even get named. Like that kind of group of like, they may as well be stooges, except that they're all somebody. But the movie treats them like stooges.
Yeah, at most, the most stoogiest of them is Electrocutioner. Like, he's the one who's like, oh, yeah, you really have never mattered in any media, so it's fine that you're here and gone. Blockbuster was the villain. He runs Bloodhaven, so he's a villain that Nightwing was fighting earlier when he got the call. He's like their big mob boss that Dick always fights.
Which guy was the one doing like the what is it, Capoeira, the Brazilian like dance fighting against Batman? I
don't even think he's listed on here. Yeah,
is he not?
Is that Hellhound?
He looked like he would be somebody. I was like, I was thinking to be Baltrack the Leaper, and then I was like, that's Marvel. What this is some other kick based supervillain.
Yeah,
I still get
Hellhound,
Quicksilver and Silver Surfer mixed up.
Fair, I guess
those are the same person in my brain.
Same universe, so that helps.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. So that, funny enough, that was before our show. We were talking about who Matthew Mercer voices. That's him. That's that's Matthew Mercer. For like
he had a line.
Yeah, I guess. How much? I wonder how much Matthew Mercer gets paid for that, because it's not an additional role. He got like a named character. Like this. I hope he got good money for that.
He voiced Hellhound and Chucky Soul.
Oh, Jesus. He was Chucky Soul.
All right, well, good for Matthew Mercer. There you go. Oh, I love that man so much.
Chucky Soul is not a comic book character. He's a Mask of the Phantasm character, apparently.
Yeah.
I recognized the name when it got said, but I had to look it up to see where I knew it from. But like, oh, that's fun.
Well, that guy sounds really. Yeah, I did the same thing. I was like, oh, I remember him. All right, and then you ended our little comic book character roundup with one of our most talked about, or one of the characters I wanted to talk about in our roundup, Heretic. So we're gonna get right into the Andrea Romano roundup. That is where we shout out our voice director queen herself, Andrea Romano, and I've titled this "Let's Talk About the Heretic in the Room." Why is such a weird character in and out? Why is such a weird character in and out of the comics? So obviously this is an adaptation of like multiple storylines, and spoilers. If you haven't read Batman Incorporated or haven't watched this movie for some reason, watch the movie. It's fun. Heretic's in this, and he is a clone of Damian Wayne.
He's an adult clone of Damian Wayne.
Yes.
He's real buff.
Yes, voiced by Travis William, who does an amazing job. But it's weird to me that he had a deep voice. Like, I saw his character design, I'm like, that's Heretic. That has it. Why does he have such a deep voice? Because anytime I've seen Heretic in the comics, it is a giant, muscular, Bane-looking man with the basically face of a baby. It's so strange looking, guys.
Like, they aged up his body, but not his face and brain.
No, it's so disturbing.
I don't know this character. I am Googling like a baby, not like a little kid.
Not like
not
even close to Damian's face. Like, he's just straight up like baby Damian's face on Bane's body. It's disturbing.
Whoa. Yeah, I didn't know this character. And at first, you see a big buff guy in a techie red Batman mashup, and I, having played Arkham Knight, and like, is this isn't, they're not doing that storyline. I'm sure I would have heard if that storyline was in here. And the reveal of him is so weird. If you don't know who he is and you're watching this movie, he's just this weird, menacing presence that has a Batman motif and is a villain. And that's cool.
Mhm.
And then you get one scene where he's like, by the way, I'm a
In the
grown
last
man,
like
baby.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like
It's not
20
even
minutes.
no, it's not. It feels like it should be, because that's
It's
what
not,
happened to me
it's
when
like
I
a
was watching
whole
it.
ass like 40 minutes left of this movie.
There's so much movie after this. He just gets disposed of. He gets one scene where he's like, here's my gravitas and here's my backstory, and now I'm dead. And it's like, okay, which makes me think, I'm like, okay, so we're almost at the end of the movie, right? No, there's a lot of movie after that. He just gets tossed aside. It's very weird.
Yeah, it is very weird to bring him in, especially because the connotation of, if you read the comics, he kills Damien in the comics, because like Talia didn't mean for him to kill him, but he's so crazed he kills Damien in a fit of rage. Which is sad at the time, and then of course, you know, Batman does this whole thing where he brings him back. I, I can see why they cut that storyline out. There's not much time to deal with that in this movie or in subsequent movies, because they've also established how Darkseid is truly a big bad. Where the DC comics, like at least especially in New 52, establish him in the beginning as like this big bad, this multiversal threat. And he's still that to this day, but when he shows up, it is now kind of a big deal. You know, it's not like, oh, he's just a random issue. Like here's Darkseid. No, it's like, hey, he showed up. Oh shit's about to go down in DC for some reason. Or he just shows up random like he recently did in Absolute Power. And it's like, why are you here? It's like, don't worry about it. I'm gonna do some other shit. All right. But so they don't have the chance to do that storyline, right? Of Batman going to Apocalypse, getting this technology to bring back, you know, Damien through the Lazarus pit / Apocalypse technology and stuff. No time for that. Not necessary. So it's like, all right, let's bring this heretic character. Why? I don't know. Why not? Okay. And then we killed him. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
And then he gets
I
just
have
killed and
two
tossed aside.
By his mom.
I have two major problems with this character. And the first is when we're like initially introduced to Heretic, there's this like weird like underlying tension with Talia that immediately read sexual and not like vying for approval. And that was like all fine and good and whatever until I realized that he was like a clone of her literal child and therefore her literal child. And that was deeply uncomfortable to me as a person. And the second is in that like reveal scene where he's like monologuing his like tragic backstory and why he's like the perfect little soldier. It's revealed that like Talia has just a freezer full of clones waiting to be like developed and utilized. That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I in the moment I read that as there was a freezer full of donations from Bruce, but no, because they're clones of Damien, not new,
Right.
Yeah.
not new genetic mixes. So it's just a vat of like little baby clones, I guess.
Vat of little baby clones.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird.
And this poor guy, like, so he obviously has like the mental fortitude of like whatever like Damien has, right? And he has the love of Talia for one sided though. Because Talia's like, I don't give a fuck about you at all. Just
He's like so cool, and then he's like, but I don't have my own brain, and I can't love you, mommy, and like
I don't
drops
have
to
a
his knees, and it's suddenly
soul.
so
I need
pathetic.
your
And I was like,
soul.
whoa, what is going on? It is such a weird shift.
It's very funny and context wise, especially if anyone who reads or watches Invincible, season finale just happened, and you get a similar villain who's very strong and then very crazy, and at the same time he's like, I'm so lonely. It's like, oh, why are you telling me this as you're beating my ass? Please don't tell me this. This is weird. Just don't whisper in my ear. Hey, everyone looks at me weird, and I wish I had friends. It's like, okay, my jaws broke. I think everything hurts. Please don't tell me this right now. Like that poor Damien was going through some shit. And Damien, the past two movies, you know, Has just been going through it, man.
It's been a busy time lately.
Yeah, this poor kid he's struggling. He is struggling. And then to see basically, hey, this is what happens if you like grow older and do all this other stuff. Cool. I shot him in the face. That's gotta be weird for you, right? Like, yep.
I am a little disappointed. I went and read about the character version of the comic, the comic version of the character.
Yes.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
And while I appreciate that they stuck with Talia killing him, the description here from dc.fandom.com of how he is killed originally is he's killed in a confrontation with Talia atop of Wayne Tower by having his head decapitated by a sword and a bomb being placed on the back of his spine that blew up Wayne Tower. And that sounds really cool. And then the next section is, and then he got revived with the Lazarus Pit. And what the heck did they dump in the Lazarus Pit after they used him to blow up a building? That thing works well.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
We could talk about my issues with the inconsistencies of the canonical uses of the Lazarus Pit some other time.
It truly
like,
is like a magical
you have a
water.
Decapitated head and a blown up body.
Maybe
what
they
are
took
you
the
reviving?
head, actually. That would
Just
actually
the
make
head?
some sense if they took the head. Because I was thinking they found like a toenail 6 blocks away and used that to bring him back.
Like fucking Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
I don't know. He was a weird guy, and I had bad vibes about him as soon as he showed up because I thought it was an Arkham Knight thing. And then, like, I was so intrigued by the reveal of his backstory, and I was still processing it when he got killed. It was like, oh well, I guess I won't stress about that anymore. There was a lot of weird implications there, but moving on.
So many.
There
And
was.
it's like, yeah, I think you're right. 'Cause I got that Oedipus vibe
Yeah.
from him. It felt one-sided, but it felt very Oedipus. I was like, ugh. I don't like how you talk about your mom.
My like first 2 notes about Heretic as a character. The first one was my initial impression was like, this guy may be a villain, but if he's a pain in Sionis' side, can he really be all that terrible? Like, I'm a fan of whoever's the hater of Black Mask. I support people's wrongs, I guess. But the next was about him trying to capture Damien, and I was like try to capture him to what? Seduce Talia? Or an ounce of her affection? Like, immediately it seemed like he was trying to seduce her. And that's weird.
Yeah.
It's all, I don't even understand what he wanted. Like, because it sounded like he was saying we'll have a brain transplant of like everything that makes you Damien into me. And I'm like, hey dude, you ain't gonna be you anymore if you do that. Like,
he wanted to download Damien's soul into his brain so he didn't feel like a shell of a human.
There again, very weird, but like more than weird, just like there are so many. What does Jarvis's touch technology do that this guy thinks he's going to download a soul, but it's not going to change who he is? It's just going to make him able to love his mom more, but he'll still be a villain, even though the soul he's taking is a good guy's soul. Yeah. I guess question mark on that with Damien, but there were just so many things happening in that scene, and then the movie was just like, anyway, just shove that aside because it doesn't matter. I like this movie a lot. That scene, like, I like it for the shock value, but I'm very frustrated by it as someone like trying to understand the world because I just have so many questions, and the movie just was like, I don't care, doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, they took like a weird concept. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm gonna completely derail this, but I gotta get this thought out there. You know what book really grapples with like what does it mean to like be human and like is it your brain or your body who is you? Is this oh god, I don't even remember when this book came out, but it was probably like mid-aughts or something by 2008. Of course it did. All the best media happened in 2008, and I stand by that. Meg Cabot's Airhead, the writer of The Princess Diaries, wrote this book about somebody's brain was transplanted into somebody else's body and what it meant for their continued existence. It's great. You should read it. Highly recommend.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Apparently there's a trilogy.
There
is? I've only read the one book.
Time to get on Amazon, order some more books.
Don't buy books from Amazon.
You know, as soon as I said that,
or
as soon as I said that, I was like, why'd I pull Amazon? It's because Amazon is what came up on my search result, because Google's on their side.
Fuck you, Satya and Nadella.
Thrift books for me is the place to go.
I love thrift books. Thrift books is great. Shout out. Yeah. Fuck you, Andy Jassy? Fuck you. Amazon dude.
I did want to mention though with I definitely want to check out
Bezos.
No, he doesn't actually like own it or whatever.
Does he not? Really?
I mean, we can still fuck Bezos. I think.
Yeah, fuck Jeff Bezos. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but with the heretic,
he's not the CEO anymore.
Oh,
he stepped down as CEO. It's now Andy Jassy, who I have to know for specific reasons that we're not talking about because I don't want to get fired.
Oh, yes. Okay. Gotcha. Took me a second. I had to put it all together. I was like, why? I've heard that name before in different contexts. Oh, there it is. There's enough context clues there. So yeah, with Heretic too, it felt like there's so many things that, you know, we talk about, especially with these movies, they're so tied into the New 52 era of comics. And some stuff is cool, man. And the initial storyline of Heretic, right? And this Batman Incorporated thing, and then, you know, Bruce losing Damian and how that would impact him because that is his son, you know, as opposed to his adopted children, which, you know, that doesn't diminish them, but like he goes nuts and like it's a really good, you get a couple good series out of it. But it is such a weird character. And for this to be like, yeah, I guess we got to do it, right? Let's just use this character up. It's like, we don't have to use the character up. You didn't have to use Heretic. Everything else made for a very capable movie, you know, like without adding Heretic.
Yet narratively, his purpose is just to hide that this is a Talia plot for the first half hour, 40 minutes or so. Like that's the function he's serving, is that like, is he the leader or is he working for someone? We're pretty sure he's working for someone, but he looks like he could be a leader, so maybe not. Like, I feel like he could have done that with anybody. And I don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but then you won't get the fucking killer ass line delivery of after she murders her child. She's like, he was flawed.
He was flawed.
Yeah, that screams eugenics.
Like,
yeah.
Damn.
You know what? Moving on, that's actually it's a perfect segue to our next subsection. Talia, do we actually support all the women's wrongs, Sly? Because we have a famous quote, and hopefully will become merchandise.
Women's wrongs. I do not support eugenics. And she was really trying me. Listen, that fight scene where she had a sword and a gun that she was fighting with simultaneously. Damn. It was a great look. I have issues with the outfit, like I talked about last time we saw.
Yeah, it did change.
Talia. It's fine. Does not change.
The
Still
zipper got lower.
much cleavage. That's not practical for fighting, but like whatever. Anyways, I love Talia. She's so fucked up. And like we know she dabbles in eugenics. However you want to say she acquired the material for Damian's existence is, you know, very debatable. However, I try to ignore the eugenics of it all, and this movie really was all about it, and like made it a core part of like multiple characters' identities. And I don't support those wrongs, okay?
Yeah. I was like, I think this might be the bridge too far for Sly.
I do love that we have like a recurring and competent female villain. Like, I really like that. That is very, very cool to me, because that's something that you like so rarely get. And the version of her that we get is a very like, she's not hyper-sexualized, but she is like playing a kind of archetypical role of a like femme fatale almost. So like the like characterization isn't groundbreaking, but it is cool to have a female villain over the course of multiple movies that is like a legitimate threat, not just like because she has sex appeal. Like that comes into play, but she is not dangerous because she is a woman. She is a woman who happens to be dangerous. And then they
Which
make her
was
story
lovely.
all about pregnancy and offspring,
Yeah.
and that kind of takes that back few steps. And then they make her like the other story that's happening here is her like denying like the ability to think for themselves from people and to make decisions about the functions of their body, and that's
Uh-huh.
a whole lot to put into the hands of
Well,
a character that I don't think it's bad, I don't think it's good, but it's interesting.
listen, Talia as a character has never in her entire existence been a pillar of consent
Yep.
ever. That
No.
is like the poster child
Yeah.
of non-consent and or dubious consent in
Yeah.
almost every interaction we've ever seen her
She
in.
asked for forgiveness, not permission. That's Talia.
Yeah.
She doesn't care about forgiveness, so it
No,
doesn't
actually, yes.
matter. But I
It's
do
all.
love that she
Ugh.
like kind of cosplays a femme fatale in a way that like because she's actually like very highly intelligent and competent in the like every other aspect that
Yeah.
her like sex appeal is not necessarily to like honeypot people, it's just to like exist.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes me more okay with the outfits because it kind of feels like
Mhm.
she's not wearing the outfits to seduce someone. I'm like, I guess she just likes those outfits. Like she doesn't
The
seem to be
problem was
weaponizing her sexuality. She's just in it, you know?
in one scene, she had a really hot, like, full coverage ninja outfit, and I
Mhm.
just
Oh
wish
yeah.
that was her full-time outfit because that was very attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny too because she is like if you think about the context of where she is in the universe at this moment, she is the world's best terrorist. You know, like she is the
Mhm.
leading terrorist of the world. Like she is the most capable like anarchist in the world,
Put that
and
on a mug.
yeah, she's the
World's
most.
best terrorist.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a photo of Talia al Ghul. Um, but like she's so capable. The only thing I can think of outfit wise could be just for Bruce. Cause the second she sees this man, it's on. She is moist. She is ready. She just wants this man. Like
Ripping.
she wants him bad. Like she is
Oh,
down
yeah.
bad for this
She is
man.
down bad for
And that's the
Bruce,
whole plot
and
of this of her doing this, which is
and I
insane to
think that,
me.
like, makes her hate him a little bit because she doesn't want to, like, have feelings or emotions or attachments, but she has this, like, 12-year, like, angst hate fest
Yeah.
with this man who will not give her the fucking time of day no matter how many extremes she goes through.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be a little unhinged too, you know?
I don't think she ever wanted to be a mom. I said this to my friend Brianna when we were watching this. I was like, I don't think she ever
Absolutely
wanted to
not.
be a mom. I think the only reason she carried a baby was because it was Bruce's. Like she wanted
And
that. She wanted Bruce's
did she
baby.
carry a baby? Is the
Well,
question.
that
Yeah.
that just gets it straight back to eugenics. Like she didn't want to have a
Right.
baby, but she was like, my genes plus Bruce's genes would be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That motherfucker
Correct.
yeah, he will rule the world. He's like, you are in fact correct. He would rule the world. He's that good. But it's because of his dad, not because of you crazy bitch. And it's like as this is happening, I was like, dude, you're just pushing Damien away. I don't think she really cares for Damien, honestly, in this
I don't.
universe.
She's got a clone full of like, or a vat full of Damien clones. She doesn't need this. This one's been tainted by Bruce. She's
Yeah.
got the other ones that are still just pure little like brainless soldiers. Except he's like, there were a bunch of us, and I was the only one who survived. But I didn't have a brain, and then Tetch gave me a
Of the ones
brain.
that got aged up.
Yes.
So, but
So
he
they
said
like
he didn't have a
rapid
brain
age.
before that. Did they just
And
like
like
explode during the rapid aging process? I was picturing them all in like a training camp together, and he like killed all the other ones. But maybe it's literally that they were just
Ooh.
bodies until I don't know.
I don't think like I think he meant I didn't have a brain and not like the literal like the organism that like exists inside his body way. I think he just didn't have any, you know, thoughts or memories or any way to understand the world or language around him because
Mhm.
he
But
was
is
a
that
little baby child that rapidly turned into an adult.
So they used one technology to make body big, and then they used Jarvis touch tech to make brain big.
Yep.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, that tracks.
Yeah,
I
think he just survived.
Yeah.
He just survived both processes.
He's the only one that like fully survived the like rapid age up body.
But that was just luck of the draw then. He didn't do anything cool to be the
Correct.
I thought he like did something to earn that. He's just literally the one experiment that worked. Man, this guy sucks. I don't think I like him.
No, he does suck, dude. He's a weird character. That's not wrong. Yeah. And then also, you know, we were just talking about, you know, the eugenics of it and Talia and her crazy obsession with Bruce. And I just started thinking, like, mind control Bruce Wayne, she definitely would have had her way with him again. Right?
I gotta believe some stuff happened. Like we saw the dream. Like,
yeah, I hate to think about it because she's done it before.
Yes, she has. She has a penchant for men who are not fully in their right mind.
Also, I love that Bruce implies their first meeting, like what, you know, the however many movies back, is like, oh, you know, I was in my right state of mind or whatever. Bruce is basically like, you didn't have to. I would have done it. Like we would have.
Yeah, you didn't have to drug me.
Yeah.
I really was willing to.
You.
Yeah.
Like I see you, like you're evil, but you're hot. Like I get it.
Right.
This is kind of my bag.
It's his favorite type.
Yeah. You heard of Batwoman? Come on.
Or shit, last week's episode. You know? It's like, oh, are you a villain and ever so slightly awake? Cool. Yeah, I want to have sex with you. That's what I want to do. And everyone judges Nightwing, right? Like, oh, look at this whore out here. This fat ass just running around.
That's because he has such cunty energy.
He does.
Like, he just radiates whore energy.
Yeah.
He does. He does. Yeah, Bruce is like, that guy, he has nothing going on down there, right? Meanwhile, he's like slinging dick around all the world. And he's like, are you a villain? Have you stolen anything recently? Cool.
On the topic of slinging dick, I know we're not there yet, but my first note, or one of my first notes on Dick in this, is he's on the phone. I guess it's spoilers who he's talking to. I didn't know. Do you guys know?
Well, I do, but they've been like queuing this up for like 3 different movies.
I assumed it was Corey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Anyway, he's talking to her, and the line she says. Now his name is Dick. This is an important thing to remember. But the line she says is, "It's been weeks, Dick. I almost forgot what you feel like." Holy shit! What movie? You can't have that be the line. Yeah, I know his name is Dick, but damn.
Yeah.
That's a weird one.
Yep. It would have sounded not as dirty as she was like Grayson. It still would have been like,
it's been weeks, Richard. I almost forgot what you feel like. That's still horny.
Yeah.
But it's a wholesome horniness. But when you put dick in the middle of a sentence that involves I forgot what you feel like, that's different. It's different. I wasn't sure what the tone of this podcast was going to be. I wasn't sure if I would bring this up, but I feel like this is a safe space to talk about the fact.
We can talk about dicks all the time.
Corey's into Dick's dick.
Yeah, there's so many horny people in this universe alone. Now, mind you, we have Superman and Wonder Woman are dating in this universe currently.
I mean, I got into a lot of DC stuff with the Arrowverse shows, so this is tame compared to how horny everybody is there.
Legends of Tomorrow is the horniest, gayest show on fucking television. It's wonderful.
Mr. Al Ghul can get it.
Any Al Ghul, you just like.
I stopped watching those shows when the COVID season happened. And literally earlier today, I was like, I want to watch more of those shows. I should find a list of like the episodes I haven't seen. There are 222 episodes of those shows that I haven't seen. Nope. And I watched a lot of those shows already. That's insane. Yeah. There are too many episodes.
I keep going to catch up, but I'm in a very similar boat. I did, however, not to tangent again, but I did have a brief but intense Supercorp hyperfixation a couple weeks ago, where that's literally all the fanfic I was reading was just Supercorp, and it was delightful, and I kind of wanted to rewatch the show, and then I remembered that Supergirl is never as good as I think it is when I go to revisit it, unfortunately.
I watched some of Supergirl with a friend recently. Actually, they were we watched a bunch of the Arrowverse stuff because they're rewatching it,
Mhm.
and so I just watched what they were on. And I was like, man, I think with all of these shows, but most with Supergirl, is that like I have really fond memories of this, but
Mhm.
every episode is like 3 times longer than I want it to be because
Yeah.
they just pull and taffy constantly on those shows.
Especially the season length, like, well, like that's
Yeah,
why I think
exactly.
Mhm.
Legends of Tomorrow has such a like happy taste in my mouth because like
Yeah.
they're 12 episodes and they're like,
Yep.
unfortunately they got canceled before they could finish out like a proper story, but like still it's
And it
12
really
episodes.
leans into that like procedural like case
Yeah.
show type vibe. I
Yeah.
love
That one's
Legends of Tomorrow.
I
It's
don't
that's my
think
great.
many
favorite of those.
shows, especially these like those Arrowverse era shows, I don't think you can do like 20 episodes. I think
Yeah.
that's too much. It's like
Mhm.
23 hours
If you're
of
doing an
television.
ongoing story, you can't do that many episodes. If it's not
Right.
my example for this, that we're way on a tangent. This is what
No.
happens when you bring me on,
It's
and
fine.
also
Yeah.
Asli's not caffeinated apparently. I am
Fine.
over caffeinated. You're under. It's great. I think it's like season 3 of Agents of Shield where they broke it up into 3 story arcs that connected to
Oh,
each
Uh-huh.
other. But so
yes.
it was like you got 8
Yeah.
episodes of a story
Uh-huh.
that then transitioned really nicely into another 8 episode story and then another one. Perfect. That is the
Yeah.
like
It was
only time
brilliant.
I've seen a 20 episode long story arc actually work because they didn't. They just did 3 little ones instead.
Right. I
Yeah,
loved
I
Agents
agree.
of Shield. Like, was that show good? No, but I genuinely enjoyed
There's
like
so
every
many
second of
there's so many
it.
good
Yep.
things, man. So many good things in that show. But yeah,
Anyways,
that's
this is
funny.
not a Marvel
No,
podcast.
it's not. No, but it is indicative though of like how many issues you have. See, that's a good thing too. Like this is a shared universe within the DC AMU, right? So where this, we've all come off positively about this movie. It does dip in quality compared to last week's episode, compared to what we've had before. Like, and it's not to say anything bad. It's just we've gotten so much Batman in a row.
Yeah.
That's the issue. When you have all these, like, you set up a Justice League in this universe, it's like, and the first movie is Flashpoint, and it's good. It's the only other good version of Flashpoint other than the comic book. And it's like, okay, so are we gonna see more Flash? Like, yeah, Justice League, cool. Is he gonna get another solo movie? No.
No,
All right.
no, we
Well,
just
all
need
right.
him for Flashpoint.
What are we gonna
It's
get more
probably
Green Lantern? No. Yeah,
no.
in different Justice League. Okay. What about Batman? Oh yeah, you're gonna get a lot of Batman. Don't worry about that. Actually, we're gonna give you Teen
No,
Titans.
much
Oh
Batman.
fuck, I'll take Teen Titans. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'm cool with
My
that.
my favorite note about that point specifically is like what I was thinking during this movie is that it perfectly illustrates the point we've been making on the show for a while, that Batman is the least important Batman character in the stories. He's like not present for like
Nope.
99% of this movie, and
Yeah.
it's genuinely like one of my favorite movies so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah. Dick trying to like deal with like Kate and Luke, and also being Batman and what it means to him being Batman when he doesn't want to be
Grappling with
Batman.
like
Yeah.
his own identity. Yeah, it's
hmm
delicious.
and he's also not like even though we know later on it's Bruce Wayne that's like brainwashed or whatever, it still feels
Mhm.
very Bruce to be like, fuck Kate, she's not coming on board.
Yeah.
Fuck Luke, he's not coming on board. Only family. I'm like, and I put a note before the reveal. I was like, Kate's your fucking cousin, dude. Like, you guys are literal family. Like, if
Literal family.
anything,
Are
you kick
is that
Dick out.
is that
I
true
don't
in this
think that's
universe?
canon this universe.
Okay.
I
Oh
don't
yeah,
I
I
think
can
it
wasn't
say
is.
sure.
established in
But
this
in our
universe, but
hearts, they're cousins.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
because
I'm
Martha comes
with
from the
you, like,
Canes,
it
right?
was
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was, like, surprising how, like, shitty he was being, but not in a way that was unbelievable
yeah,
because
it was
Right.
so
this
believable.
Batman
Exactly.
is, like, kind of an ass, and, like, not in
Yeah.
a way that I mean, like, he's a bad person or anything, he's just, like, the way he communicates is very direct. He's not gonna like he doesn't care about your
Autistic.
feelings. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I remember you saying that on another episode. I think that that's true. And like, so when he's like being an asshole to Dick, it does not feel out of character, really.
Mm-mm.
Like it's like a little harsh, but like I think it's Alfred says in that moment. He's like, he's just been through like a lot. Like, so maybe give him a little bit of space, but it's believable that he would be that
Yeah.
harsh.
Yeah, it really is, and it is funny too because again, he has these things when he tries to kick out Kate and Luke at that moment after they've established Batwing and Batwoman. And by the way, great introductions. We can touch upon it real quick, but like really great introductions of both Batwoman into the DC AMU and Batwing, and it didn't feel like it still felt good in this 1 hour 15-minute time frame that we got in this movie. It didn't feel like it took away from the film at all. It was very natural how it progressed to both of them. But
I think this is one of my favorite Batwoman backstories that we get.
yes,
Yeah.
I do like when it sticks more to the canon. Also, like that they changed Jacob's her father, right? That's his name. He's
Yeah.
more on board with her being gay. It makes
I
more
love
sense in
that.
2016 because like I think
That was
her first introduction, he's like many unfortunate, people at that time coming to grips with maybe their kids coming out. There wasn't that precedent to see so many gay people in media and stuff like that. So to see
Mhm.
him embrace her so quickly, like, nah. And he calls Renee over
the,
at the
the
end of the
moment
movie.
the moment earlier on, I want to call out because I think this is like perfect representation, and that's something that I'm like very like emphatic about. Is I like very keyed in on queer representation and stuff, and the
Mhm.
fact that the introduction to the fact that she's gay in this is her dad just saying like I haven't seen you in a while or something like that, and he was like I was hoping maybe you'd been a nice girl, and she gives him a look, and then she goes on with whatever she's saying, and that is it. That's the whole conversation. And if this is a movie about Kate Kane being queer, that sucks. But in a movie where that's not the point of the movie, that is like a great
Perfect.
acknowledgement of her
Mhm.
sexuality. And the movie spends absolutely no time on it because it doesn't really matter to that, but it's
Yeah.
there.
And it's
So
so
like the
genuine
representation's there.
too
And
from
he's
her.
being so supportive and positive. And the movie spends exactly as much time on it as it would have if he had said, I was hoping you met some nice boy. Like that scene is
Mhm.
exactly the same if you switch it to a nice boy. They don't they don't do
Mhm.
anything extra, which, like I said, if this was a movie about that, it would be a bummer. But in a movie where she is one of like 8 main characters, that is like a
Right.
good way and a very positive way to show like a supportive family. And I was really touched by that.
And like during the bar scene, I had literally no thoughts. I was just screaming. And the only notes I wrote was useless lesbians with like 3 exclamation marks. If that's not the best representation.
I love because she starts so strong and then she closes so weak. She's so like,
Yeah.
here's my card. No, I'm serious. I
Useless
do really
lesbian.
like. I really do feel a thing here. This is really bad on my part. Sorry, I gotta go. And then I also
I
love
love
it.
Montoya too.
Oh, she's the best. I love that's followed by to get into the point with Dick taking over as Batman for this film. He is so trusting, so he's willing to take that leap, right? He knows Kate. He's like, oh, I've been friends with Kate. Since we were kids. I had a crush on her when we were little, but like I know her and I know like her backstory. I think I can trust her with this mission. And he immediately takes the mask off to show her, like, hey, I got this. Like, I know you, I know who you are, and I'm gonna tell you that, but I'm not gonna make this one sided like Batman would normally. He's like, here I am.
Mhm.
It's Dick Grayson. She's like, oh shit. And like they immediately like had that repertoire and they're like back to being like friendly. And she realizes like that's a big deal for Dick
Yeah.
to be like, hey, no, I'm being Batman right now. And then she puts it together. She's like, wait, you're Nightwing, everything like that. She's like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
Like I'm getting everything now. Everything kind of makes sense. And then she's like, oh, Bruce is back. Like she's putting everything together. And it's really impressive. And then when when he goes to Luke, and Luke being the fucking genius that he is, he's like, I know everything that's going
He was
on.
incredible.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. He's like, all right, fine. We're not gonna bullshit. Like Dick does say same
Mhm.
thing there. He's like, we're not gonna bullshit. Listen, I know you want to be
Could
part
use
of
your
this.
help.
Yeah, I would like to use your help. I can't make that call when he definitely can.
Mhm.
He's like, at all intents and purposes, he is Batman. He can make the
Mhm.
call, but he still doesn't feel like he should because of Bruce. And then he
Mhm.
almost gets smacked in the face when everything goes. And Bruce is like, why did you bring him in? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? He's like, a thank you would have been nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like Dick is so trusting of these people, and it shows why he really is like kind of the heart and soul of the DC universe in those moments where he's like he sees Katie and he calls her Katie. He doesn't even call her Kate. He calls her
Mhm.
Katie and like takes the mask off. Bruce could have did that when he saved her.
Yeah.
Like from getting like
Because he knew who she was
Bruce
already.
never would have done it. Yeah.
yeah, Bruce would have never. Yeah. Again, if we are not saying she's family, but she is family in all contexts. And she's in this desperate situation. He would have done something. It looks like he just saved her one time. It was like, fuck it, you're on your own. I don't fucking care. And just walks away. Like, dude, that's family. You can't just do that. Like,
I wonder if there. It feels like there could be an implication there that he was watching out specifically for her that night.
Yeah, could have. Yeah, because she
But
was on that track of drugs and sexy shit.
Yeah, if they connected it, I mean they don't. I think in the dossier suggest that Bruce has been following Kate Kane. He's identified her as Batwoman, but I don't think that the dossier suggests. I kind of wish there was a line in there where he was like, she's Kate Kane. This, I remember her from when I was a kid, and or something, some reference to it to suggest that he was actually specifically looking out for her that night would be kind of fun. But it seems like she was just a random person that he saved, and she just wasn't grateful, and he left. I don't know. I kind of like a version where it is his cousin, and he was like specifically looking out for her and let her get into that situation, because that's what Bruce would do. Is that like, yeah, I let you get into a situation where you almost got beat in the street so that I could rescue you and scare you straight, because that's the only way I know how to do anything.
Like best case scenario or worst case scenario for his like scared straight thing, she beats up everybody. Like, oh,
right, exactly.
Another night, then I guess. It's Gotham. It's Gotham, and she's hot. Someone will try to attack her, unfortunately.
I do have one problem with her. Is the line, and I think I saw in one of your notes that you love the line where she says, just because I wear this doesn't mean I'm part of your little cult. And I'm kind of like,
hell yeah.
Hey Kate. Yeah, it does though. It kind of does. Like when there's one guy who wears a bat mask everywhere, and you start wearing a bat mask, and he wears a big Batman symbol on his chest, and you wear a big Batman symbol on your chest, like it's not like like you weren't born with a Batwoman costume on. You made the costume. Like,
listen, I love characters who very reluctantly and like openly like despise being associated with Bruce, and yet wear the emblem anyways. Spoiler: Red Hood, Kate in this one. I love it. It's a trope that gets me every time. I'm like, fuck yeah, be your own person.
But at the same time,
be your own person in somebody else's clothes.
Yeah, barely.
She's like, shit, you know what? That bat symbol really does a lot of work. He does a lot of the work when I jump in.
That's the problem, is it's so effective, and especially in a place like Gotham where trust is so hard to come by and takes so much effort to be earned, is to have an instant symbol of recognition that I am here to help is invaluable, and it's kind of a requirement to operate successfully throughout Gotham, right? Like, you can't do what they do without utilizing that symbol to the extent they do.
Yeah. It'd be different like if she was like, I love Superman and I'm gonna run around with this S in Gotham. It was like, well, you must be bulletproof. I'm gonna shoot you in the face.
Right.
I wish the movie played with this more, because what I think that I like this movie a lot. This movie is not long enough. This movie has way too many ideas. So everything I dislike about this movie is something where they did something interesting and then moved on. Like with what's his name? Heretic.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the same thing here is that, like, Kate says, just because I wear this doesn't mean I'm part of your cult, despite the fact that all evidence suggests that if you wear that, you're pretty much part of the cult, except that Heretic is here. And if they were using that to draw a comparison, like, Heretic also wears a Batman cowl. He doesn't wear this symbol, but he has also stylized himself after Batman. So we actually get 3 new characters here who style themselves after Batman, because we get Batwoman, Batwing, and Heretic all do that. But the movie doesn't play with that idea. The fact that Heretic wears a Batman mask, completely unremarked upon. Like, it is not. It's nothing.
It's something that I've had a problem with, especially in the DC AMU. We've talked about it a million times. I love a tight 90. I think 90 minutes is the perfect length for a film-like structure to tell a story. And so many of these are like 72 to 75 minutes. And for some cases, that really works. But when you have such a deep, nitty-gritty story with so many aspects and you're pulling on so many threads, you don't have time in 72 minutes to fully develop most of those ideas into a way that's successful and like satisfying resolution. And I think that's 100% to your point. Like, they pulled in so many things, and if they had maybe 10-15 more minutes, they could have resolved 2 or 3 things a little bit more successfully.
Yeah, I agree. No, I definitely agree. And it's just little things too. It is like another maybe 10 minutes would have like solved so many like quote unquote issues with the
That's the
movie,
thing is
right?
none of them ruin the movie, but it's just that
No.
there's a lot of ideas that I could have spent more time with, and it felt like the movie was just
Right.
constantly rushing to the next thing.
Yeah, this is
Mhm.
where I like to compare a lot of times when I most recently did it with I know a lot of people have come down besides like the boycott and everything. I was treated to as a birthday gift where I had no choice. Captain America, New World Order.
Mhm.
So I went and watched it, and I knew not a lot of reviews have been like, "Oh, this is not strong." Da, 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 da. I'm like, to me, it just felt like I went to the comic book store. I love Sam as Cap, so I picked up this issue of Cap because I love the series going on, and it's not a 10, it's like an 8 or 7, and that's pretty good.
Mhm.
Like, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I didn't waste my
Yeah.
time. I love that movie. I came out of it like, yeah, I had a really good fucking time with that. I don't know why reviewers are so pissed, but like that's with a lot of comic book media. I think in my head, and I don't think a lot of reviewers see that, right? Is when you have an episode or of a show, right? Or a movie that's not as great as like the beginning of something. It doesn't necessarily mean is the worst. Like this does
Yeah.
dip in quality ever so slightly, but and I'm also getting like a little bit of Batman fatigue, but that's not like indicative of what issues are in this movie. It's just we have so many the focus on Batman is just a lot. There's so many
Mhm.
Batman things in DC media, right?
And
This-
like, when we're looking at how we review things and how we talk critically about things, like, slapping on a number on things is something that so often we do,
yes.
and it doesn't really explain what you feel about something. Because like, when you're talking like review scales, at least like 3 out of 5 is not bad. Like, that's not
No.
negative. Like, that is over like that is on the positive side of a scale from horrible to perfect,
Mhm.
right? Like, a 7 out of 10 is very good. That is like a really solid property. Is it the most perfect thing you've ever consumed? No, but like, if everything is a 10, then nothing's a 10.
Yeah,
Like,
and then I
that
think
it doesn't have meaning.
yeah, and also I mean just to this is I think a good segue to that's not really a segue, but it is at the same time, right? Because with this film, that's where I would put it, like a 7, 8 out of 10, right? If we had to score it. But that again doesn't mean anything bad, right? But I think all of us come from media literacy that comes from like reading comic book material, so we know that monthly guideline, right? We know that like every
Right.
month there could be something, whether it be the art that brings it down a notch for that month, and you're like, I didn't like the artist they got for this like this random issue. It's still a good story, but I wasn't feeling it as much as I was last week or last month, or like you're waiting for the next storyline to build. So this is in gap in between. That's kind of what it was. And it was like still really good. I enjoyed it, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything bad. But when you have someone who reviews something that doesn't have that, I want to say media literacy or doesn't have
Mhm.
a love of maybe the genre, it's
Yeah,
weird when it happens.
understanding of the format and the genre.
Yeah, and I most recently saw it with comic book media, and in our Discord, you probably saw me and Frank fucking crash out because Invincible season finale just got a 4 out of 10 from IGN,
Ooh.
and if you watch
That
that,
is.
that episode is fucking flawless, honestly, and it's because it's like it's just a big fight, like it's the whole fucking point of that episode. It does set shit up
Yeah,
at the
like,
end because it's the season finale. It's like this guy just shows up, like that's how it is in the book. Did you not read the book?
yeah.
Because I bet you if I look at your review of the comic book, it'd probably be like, that was a 9 out of 10. It was like, it's the same fucking thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So like when
It's
you have
just like
someone who doesn't like
fundamental
horror,
misunderstanding of like the type of media you are reviewing, whether it's like thinking you have the skills and qualifications to be able to review books does not mean you do, right? Like thinking you have the qualifications to review a like animated show doesn't necessarily mean that you do. If you don't understand like the tropes of the genre, the tropes of the media type, and the source material they're pulling from, like these are all factors into how to tell a compelling narrative. And if you are going to ignore, like blatantly shut out like 90% of what makes something what it is, of course you're not going to have a great time with it. Like, what were you expecting?
Yeah, there's no review from IGN for this film specifically that we're covering today, Bad Blood. And a part of me was like, I bet you it's not good. And I was like, oh wait, there's no review. Well, that's even more indicative, right? Like
I hate to do this. I need to jump for like 5 minutes. My son apparently just lost his first tooth, so I gotta go call him to be excited about it.
Yes, that is super exciting. Yes, please
absolutely.
do that. Yeah, we will.
Okay.
We will wait.
It should only be about 5 minutes, so I will be back as quick as I can.
No worries.
Absolutely. That's super exciting. Yeah, it is funny because like just looking at some of the reviews, right? And it's frustrating because this movie, oh, that's cool. So Rotten Tomatoes has it at 100, which is not great. You know, I don't like Rotten Tomatoes as a review scale. But IMDb has like almost like a 7 out of 10, and that's a good place for this movie. This movie has a lot going for it, and it does a lot of cool things. It just may have needed to be like an hour and 20 minutes, like we said earlier. I don't think that would have been anything bad toward it. I think you have a lot of
IMDb has it as a 6.7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Which
And I
isn't
think
great, but again, that's user reviews.
True. And yeah, if you don't have the source material, I think is what you mentioned earlier, is the most important thing to have to it, right? Understanding the source material that, hey, this is a comic book. It is a movie, but it is a comic book. Like, I think that's a lot of and I'm not saying that you escape a lot of criticisms, right? Especially in the MCU. I think there's a lot of valid criticism of what's going on in phase 4 and 5 currently. You know, everyone's raving about Daredevil every week. Well, that's that's good. That doesn't take away from the missteps that you get from certain other properties. And then you have, you know, the other people who just fucking hate things because they're men and they just hate women in media like She-Hulk.
And they just want
super fucking
to feel something, and that thing is rage. Yeah, no, like if I don't like putting numbers on things, I don't feel like it properly, like it won't be taken as the way I intend it. But I recently went through and wrote out like what every single number on a review on like 3 different types of review scales meant, right? And so like if I was looking at this movie and I had to put a number on it, right, I would probably give this a 4 out of 5. And that's because I greatly enjoyed this. I had an incredible time with it. I probably won't remember a majority of it in a week. And that's to me like what I defined as a 4. Like absolute blast. Won't remember most of the major details in a week or so.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. That's how I feel about, you know, the MCU counterpart we just mentioned, Captain America, where it's like, hey, did I have a good time seeing Sam as Captain America for a whole fucking hour or 2 hours?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, I did. Did I get to see Red Hulk and Captain America fight? Hell yeah, I did. Did I get to see the leader? Sure, he was there. And like, there's all these like little things like, oh, I got to see all these random ass characters and all these random ass things happening in the MCU. That's cool. Did they mention Adamantium? Fuck yeah, they did. Do I remember anything else? No, I don't remember anything else. But it's cool. I had a really good time with it. You know, like
you had a good time, and that's what matters. It's entertainment. And entertainment does not have to be like groundbreaking, life-changing art. Right? Like when you think about the art you consume and why, think about like what is it serving in your life? I read a lot of fan fiction. We've talked about this copious amount of times on this show. And so many times I will read something that's like objectively bad. Like either grammar wise, structure wise, it doesn't really tell a compelling plot. And I will sit down and read it the entire way through because it had an interesting take on a trope, or it had a really interesting take on a storyline, and it will have something compelling. The person will obviously have a story to tell, and they're getting it out in any way they can. And I want to consume that type of story, and I don't care about the quality of how it's being presented to me, right?
Yeah.
Like that, especially in an ecosystem where every single piece of art, piece of writing is seen as a gift for the community and for the fandom. Like, I am appreciative of everything that somebody spent time to make, regardless of like, if is it cinema, is it like high class art? No, but it doesn't need to be. It's a fun little story that's silly and dumb and explores this really interesting thing that my brain wants to read about. And that's enough. Like, again, back to the point of like, not everything can be a 10, because then that means nothing. Like, not everything can be like a fucking Van Gogh painting or whatever. Like, what are you getting out of it? Is it enjoyment? And can you be satisfied with that to be enough?
Yeah.
I feel like are questions that we have to ask, especially when thinking critically and reviewing specifically pieces of media for the world to see our content, right? Like, if you're especially a fucking IGN or whatever, like, what are you hoping people get out of your review? And if it's like you're like so smart and an expert at like analyzing like literary themes, like you're in it for the wrong reasons. I hate to break it to you. Like,
yeah, this is Invincible. You know, this guy punches people in the face, and like, yeah, it's sad.
Literally.
Like, come on, like this is also kind of fun.
It's a really gory show about people punching each other in the face.
Exactly.
It's not that
or
serious.
when you get this movie, it was like, yeah, Damien fought a man-child version of himself and lost.
And a fucking walrus dude. Like,
yeah, just normal Monday for him, you know.
Normal. It's fine.
Before we move on to our next section, Troy, is there anything you wanted to shout out specifically from your notes or any part of the movie?
Moving on to next section would be moving on to the drama class, right? I'm just making sure I understand.
Yeah,
okay.
That would be our next.
So last notes. Let's see. Alfred rules in this. Alfred definitely kills two people.
I
don't know if y'all covered that.
At least
he does kill two people.
No.
Jarvis Tetch he just disappears when Alfred kills him. I don't know where he went. He didn't explode because his clothes and his hat were still there. He just poofed.
Evaporated, I guess.
Yeah. I have a note that says the Bat family is very good at gliding. Their entrance into the Watchtower was really impressive.
Yeah.
Also, their grappling hooks, they can grapple clouds in this movie because the grappling hooks in this movie are all over the place.
Yeah.
They're flying into the air in places where there are no buildings anywhere near them.
Like, you're on the top of the top buildings, like in Gotham.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here's my note for it. It says, Alfred just killed a guy. And then my next note says, Alfred just killed two guys.
Yeah. He doesn't even blink. He must have seen some crazy shit. My note was like, he must have seen some crazy shit as a Royal Marine.
That motherfucker was Special Forces.
Yeah. That dude like does have no face. Like, Tetch has no face at the end of it. He's like, oh shit.
It's just gone. His whole head.
Yeah.
And then also in the final action scene, I got a little annoyed with Batwing. I think Batwing seems like he could be a cool character, but this movie doesn't really spend a lot of time on him. He kind of just walks in and puts on an Iron Man suit that perfectly fits him, even though it wasn't designed for him, and he knows exactly how to use it, even though it wasn't designed for him. And then he literally does the Iron Man thing. Like, his story at the end of this is Iron Man's story from the Avengers during the helicarrier thing. So that just was a little bit of a letdown. And then my other one that I want to call out is I really love Batwoman in this. I think she's very cool. I think she has some really good fight scenes. I think her and Dick have great chemistry. Dick referring to the nuns as nunjas is one of the best things that's ever happened.
We'll get there.
However, Batwoman versus Talia in hand-to-hand combat does not work for me at all. I'm like, I like you a lot, Batwoman, but you should not be holding your own against Talia al Ghul. You should be getting your ass handed to you. The only way you can make that fight fair is if you give a reason that Talia is distracted or something like that. Like, then I could buy it. But if they're both at the height of their power, I just don't see it.
We're talking early in her career. Valid. Kate, you know, she's been Batwoman for maybe a year. Yeah.
She's got a lot of combat skills. Like, she clearly knows what she's doing. But that's Talia al Ghul. Like, come on.
I have one defense to that. And that scene was for the gays. It was the hottest thing I've ever witnessed in my life.
It was
Does
great.
It make sense? Probably not, but damn. Like,
if the whole ending of this movie was just the two of them fighting, I would have been perfectly happy with it, while also saying that fight shouldn't have happened. She should have got her ass kicked. But I'm glad that it was there.
Yeah, I didn't write the note down, but in the back of my head, I was wondering, and I was like, I wonder if Kate's like her cousin, and like she's fighting this like woman who's scantily clad and obviously a bad person. Who's like, you know what? I kind of want to bang him. Like,
that's another note. She thinks Batwing. She thinks Batwing's hot. When he shows up, she does the hello nurse, and I'm like, dang, okay, Kate, all right.
Yeah. Batwing is hot. Like,
she's just being aware of things. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. I do love that fight, but yeah, I was similar. I was like, I don't think she should be going as long as she. It's impressive.
They fight for a long time.
Yeah, and I was chalk it up as all right, if you can't have superpowers and you're not like bitten by a radioactive spider or given a magical ring or come from an alien planet, the only way you can be a hero in either DC or Marvel is be a Marine, which is Kate.
Both Kate and Luke. Yeah. Like, both of them are like, we can be superheroes because we were in the United States military. And I don't know.
I was checking up. You have to be a Marine. You have to be a Marine specifically. That's my thing. You have to be a Marine specifically because Jim Gordon, you know, I don't know if you guys know this, in New 52, Batman is gone for a little bit, of course. And Jim Gordon takes over as Batman.
I have not seen that.
Oh yeah. He loses a lot of weight. He bulks up. They got him stop smoking cigarettes with these special bat symboled like nicotine patches. It's hilarious. And then he's got like a bat robot. It's
Alfred's
like all sponsored.
Just cutting a regular nicotine patch into that shape.
Just to give it to him, yeah. So it's all this like crazy shit, but he loses weight. He's super buff and all this stuff. And they're like, I think someone mentions and he jokes around that he's like, well, I'm a Marine, you know. And I was like, but honestly, Punisher kind of makes sense in the Marvel universe. Like, what's that? He said that. I was like, well, Punisher was a Marine. And this person, I was like, God damn it. I think if you don't have superpowers, you have to be a Marine, and that's the only way you can be a superhero. Like, if you're Air Force, I'm like, I'm sorry, man. You need a special suit of armor. You know, that's why Rhodey is able to be War Machine. But Punisher is like, I wear a flak jacket and I go out and kill people. I could probably fight supernatural things.
Fucking insane.
They are. Shout out to Joey, my best friend.
Shout out to Joey.
Yeah.
Come on the pod.
Oh my god.
The last thing that has to be mentioned is that we get the family together. They don't linger super long on the shot of them all together, which surprised me. And then we all have the same note at the end of our notes.
Yes. Because we all freaked the fuck out when we saw Babs.
We all wrote Babs with multiple exclamation points. None of us wrote Barbara or Batgirl. We all just wrote Babs.
With one of the best fucking suits. That Batgirl Burnside suit is so good. I love all her costumes. I think she has like a really good. That one's so perfect, man.
That one's really like it is the most like personality in a superhero costume like that I can think of. Like, I cannot think of another superhero costume that has that much personality to it. It tells you so much about not the superhero but about the character. Like, I don't know. I really like that look.
It was funny because I feel at that time in the zeitgeist, so like when Babs Tarr, when that series started and she showed her design, I felt like even past like back row writers were like, oh fuck, I never even. It's just it makes sense. Like the second you see that costume, like that makes sense. That's what her costume should be. Yeah. And then of course it gets changed. You know, her current one is a little back to normal, which is whatever. Spoiler and Cassie have really good back row costumes, but yeah, no, Sly, anything you want to shout out?
Yes.
You want to talk about?
The dream sequence with Bruce was dope. I thought that was beautifully done. It was.
Freud would have had a fucking field day with that fucking dream.
Yeah, unfortunately, fuck that man. Like, God. So many issues. Anyways, the way they like blended all those scenes together, the animation was just gorgeous. No, it was really cool. I really loved the like scene where Luke was like monologuing his life story and he was being all like stoic and like hot and like this is like all the cool things about me. But I was so distracted by the Dick's frat boy look that he has in this universe where he's rocking the long hair, the like obnoxious gold chain, the black cotton t-shirt with the rolled up sleeves. Like every time I see him in the like out of costume like outfit they have for him, I just laugh. It's ridiculous. I can't take that man seriously for anything.
I don't know how to explain it, but I just know that all his clothes are tearaway. Like, like he can undress in like 4 seconds.
Yeah, even his jeans, he's got breakaway, like he's like coming off the bench of an NBA game. He's got like tearaway jeans.
Exactly.
And they're not for being Nightwing. They're for fucking. That's
I love little shits, but I simply cannot respect a Damien that doesn't respect Alfred, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it. Sorry, dude. I love that there's a nunnery in Gotham, and B, that the nunnery is a global front for crime. That was iconic. Love that.
Which
so
is not
much.
even like Talia al Ghul is posted up there, but I think she's just hired the nuns to work there. I don't think the nuns are actually associated with League of Shadows. It's just there's just
for hire.
A worldwide nunja army.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Talia uses 2 words to describe Bruce, and one of them was recalcitrant, which is just like the epitome of Bruce as a human, and I really appreciated that. What else? Oh, Onyx got her fucking revenge at the end, and I was rooting for her. Sorry, Talia, but like R.I.P. And there were a lot of great lines in this movie where I loved the writing, but one thing that absolutely like threw me off was that they recycled the megaphone line once, so it was said twice in the movie, which if you did it 3 times, like I get it, like the rule of 3s, comedy, whatever, that's fine. But just the 2, I was like, really, dude? Really?
It felt weird.
Anyways. On that note, here are some lines from the movie that I actually did like. The aforementioned, just because I wear this, doesn't mean I'm part of your little cult, was iconic. There was, where was it? Oh, we are not amused. The delivery on that one got me. I cackled. That was great. He was flawed, also mentioned before, and your mom's got game.
Yeah, poor Damien's going through a lot, and just to have this like tall lesbian be like, "I fuck your mom too, man." It was like, all right, not right now.
Yeah.
All right, I just saw what could be my brother just die in front of me. Like, I'm going through a lot right now.
And then
I'm gonna give Damien a quote shout out with when he's trying to keep Tusk from falling to his death. He like Tusk falls off an edge, and Damien goes no, and like throws a batarang or whatever around his foot, and is going justice, not vengeance. As he's pulling up, I'm like, good job, Damien, you're doing it. You're not killing a guy, except the guy definitely did die. To which when Damien realized that, he just goes
rope.
He just goes, damn. And I just love that
He
so much.
tried.
But he's like,
He tried
I
so
tried.
hard.
Bruce, I
tried.
tried, okay? I'm sorry.
For the record, I tried.
Exactly. I like to think that like Bruce is like, no. Hey, listen, I'm gonna give you a
That one's
pass.
good.
Look, I definitely didn't kill him.
Yeah.
Alfred definitely did
So
kill
many
his
people got killed this movie.
Oh, speaking of,
yeah.
Capybara Man,
That
Hellhound,
was
is that what his
great.
name
Yeah,
is?
Hellhound. Yeah.
So good. I saw you had this in your house as well.
Yeah.
He's like, he's doing a bunch of badass, like, look at my cool nunchuck tricks, except with his feet, because he's all about kicks. And he's just spinning around, showing how cool his kicks are. And Dick's just looking at him. And then the roof caves in and squishes him. And that's it. And then, like, less
so
than
great.
30 seconds later, Batwing is being chased by some of the goons. Flying through the air outside. I don't remember if it's Firefly or who it is, but one of them also gets got by a rock. Like back to back, two different goons get taken out by rocks. I love it.
Yeah, it was great.
I do have one thing before we get to you, Carlos.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is before I watched the movie proper, I did watch the Expanding the Bat Family short that they had on the DVD. And there were two iconic quotes from that little like mini doc that they put on the DVD. The first one was Jason Todd is a very unstable character, to which I said, "Hey man, fuck you." And the second one was talking about Batman, and they said he needs them in a way more than they need him. And I went, correct. Yes. Real.
In fact, yes, you are correct. That's great. Yeah, for me, I'm trying to think. There was a couple of things. I know. Well, we talked about like the Freudian fucking dream. I was like, what the fuck is happening here? When this
It was a weird dream.
I was like, Bruce needs a therapist really bad.
Have y'all
really does?
Seen,
oh my god.
Trolls Band Together?
Yes.
The second of the Trolls movies.
Yeah.
It's relevant, I promise. And Carlos is going to know what I'm talking about. That movie has a fucked up dream sequence in it where it like changes animation styles. It goes hard because basically like the characters are tripping. Like they have ingested drugs and they're tripping in this children's movie, and it's wild. It's so cool. And so
me
like,
and my wife
looked at each other
like, hi, right?
It's very weird. The dream sequence in this was cool. Man, if they had like gotten some collage, animation style in there or something, really gone weird with it, I think it could have been even more fun. And that's a great opportunity to bring in some like still images that are really comic stylized. Would have been very cool.
Yeah, 100%.
You have Batman dreaming himself in a comic. You could do a lot there.
Yeah,
that would have been cool. Where were you on the direction team? Like
nobody asks me.
I know.
I'm here. I'm available.
It's a shame.
I should have.
Come on, Zaslav.
Fuck you, but also you can call me.
Fuck you, but I'll take the
hire us. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, give me tickets to AEW Dynasty. Free. I don't want to pay. Yeah. Oh, I've been playing a shitload of Mortal Kombat in my life personally. So when Mad Hatter threw his fucking top hat and it cut the dude's neck, I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, who plays Mortal Kombat and who loves Kung Lao? Like, what the fuck? And then finally, when Bruce just raises the watchtower out of the ocean, I'm like, motherfucker, you gotta warn people that there's a possibility that you're taking them to space. Like,
was it to go to space?
It doesn't, but for a second I was like,
it's gonna go low Earth orbit. But like, I was like, they had to sign a like waiver, right, to attend the summit. Like, they would have had to. I would fucking
hope so.
Did they read the waiver? Like it was a surprise. I was thinking about the logistics of it. I was going, did he like clear this with the FAA, or is this like, this is one of those things of like the super rich where it's like, no, you can just fly a building into the sky, and you have people who have taken care of all of the clearances for you. Yeah.
He's like Elon Musk, but not a Nazi. God. So it's like it's nice. Is there oversight with how much money?
Eugenics.
Yeah, right. Jesus. Yeah. All right. Well, all right. Moving on, though, we're gonna get into drama class, one of my favorite sections, and a holdover for MC University. We have 3 scenes right here, fairly short. A lot of them with Kate, which is funny because she has a lot of great lines. Let's start with the one we mentioned the most, which is this top one. choices here. I guess you have the choice. Do you want to be a Batwoman or Nightwing?
I'll do Batwoman since I've already said Nightwing's line like 3 times in this because I love it so much. So.
All right, Sly, do you want to be Nightwing for this one?
Sure.
All right.
Nuns with M60s and katanas?
That would make them ninjas. My favorite thing about the line is he says it so like nonchalant, like matter of fact. Like he's not playing into the joke at all.
He's not Spider-Man
so
quipping. He's just like, we're calling these ones ninjas. This is what we're gonna call them. When you start punching them, that's what shows up above their health bar is ninjas.
Right, exactly.
Also, that felt that's one thing I wanted to touch about. I forgot. Is that felt like like Batwoman fighting female nuns at a monastery with guns. I was like, just feels like the plot of a grindhouse porno. Like it just feels like a 70s porno at any given point. Like it could turn.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, it could have.
Yeah. All right. Next we got Nightwing and Batwoman.
What?
And Alfred actually too. So we all three of us can do this.
Yeah.
Troy, who would you like to be? You would be Nightwing.
Kate. I'll be Alfred.
Okay.
Okay. You want to take Nightwing? I'll take Nightwing. Kate.
Yeah. It's Alfred.
Your butler is part of this too?
Trust me, he's a total badass. Yeah.
Master Damien is gone, sir. My favorite thing on that one is such a little shit. My favorite thing about that is that Damien is a little shit, and that phone call would have happened exactly the same if Heretic hadn't shown up, because Damien was in the process of sneaking out when Heretic showed up.
Yeah.
That call was going to happen either way, exactly the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the time too. The timing would have been the same too. He's like, he left. God damn it. God. All right. And finally we got Batwing and Batwoman. Troy, who would you like to be?
I'll take Batwoman.
All right. Sly, do you want to be Batwoman?
Absolutely, I do.
Yeah.
All right. God's not gonna like this.
I don't think she's been here for a while.
Great.
Real.
Mm-hmm. She follows the Alanis Morissette theory that Alanis Morissette
immediately. That's all I thought.
That's God. She's God.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's all I thought. The second she said that, I was like, it's Alanis Morissette. All right. Finally, we got quiz time, which I have here in my personal notes hidden here because it's a toss-up question. It's so easy.
My scariest moment of the show.
Always, yeah.
It's how much of an idiot is Carlos gonna make me look like?
It's also like, I swear for you, Sly, like all thoughts just go away when I say quiz time. Like it's just like your mind
every single time I just blank.
It's just panic.
What was the other time I fucked up a name, 2 names that are really similar, and I like really confidently Tom Daly, the fucking British diver.
Oh yeah, not Tim Daly, the fucking. I was like,
Daly.
you were so confident on that. I don't know. Let me look. There has to be a Tom Daly. I was like, holy shit, there is. Yeah. All right, so Troy, since you're our guest, I'm going to give you the question, and for some reason, if you don't get it, again, this one's a toss up. We'll throw it over to Sly. Renee Montoya will soon join her girlfriend in the vigilante world as what hero?
No, she
oh my gosh.
I love that for her.
I don't know. I know this. It's somewhere in there, but I don't know. I cannot think of who Renee Montoya becomes.
Sly.
I didn't know she became
Is it like the question or something? She picks up somebody else's mantle, right?
Yes,
it's the question?
Yeah. It is the question. She becomes the question.
How did I not know this?
Yes.
I feel good. I feel good about that.
You should.
Yeah.
When
I haven't read it.
I don't know it.
But I like the question in the animated series, and so I think I just like somewhere read that when I was reading about him.
I'm trying to think. It does happen, I think, in the New 52. It's like one of the good things. Let's see, Renee.
In the animated show from the 90s, the question is voiced by Jeffrey Combs.
Yes,
who is one of my favorite actors because he shows up in Star Trek all over the place.
Reanimator,
and He is very fun in there. Yeah, I don't do horror movies, so like a lot of people know him from all of his horror stuff, and I'm like, no, he's just in Star Trek a lot.
Star Trek.
Yeah, I feel
Which,
like.
speaking of, actually, let me
Mhm.
get one more note that I had in here
Oh yes,
somewhere.
please.
Is that
Yeah.
when adult Damien shows up, I made a Star Trek connection where I said this is a reverse Shinzon situation.
Yes.
Because in Star Trek Nemesis, they clone Picard, but don't age him up. So you have Tom Harding playing Patrick Stewart, which is just, they should just made it you have Patrick Stewart, make an evil Patrick Stewart and have two Patrick Stewarts in your movie.
Yeah.
Like, I like that guy a lot, but come on. And then in
Yep.
this one, it's the reverse.
Fucking poor Tom Hardy. He tried.
I mean, he did fine. That movie's not great, but it's
No.
not bad because of him. But it would have been better if there was an evil Patrick Stewart in it.
So this happened in the miniseries 52 in 2006. Renee Montoya became the question. Yeah.
I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, and that's just like part of the
Good
Justice
job.
League and shit. It's awesome.
I'm very curious. Like I said at the top, I have not watched the rest of these movies, and I'm very curious to see where it goes, because the next movie has Justice League in the title, and I feel like the final moments of this movie are kind of like, you don't need a Justice League. There's like 7 of us that have Bat in our name. Just use us instead of the Justice League. So it's going to be interesting to see them kind of zoom back out to the wider DC universe.
Very rapidly approaching the end of like where I stopped watching the DCAMU, where a lot of the upcoming movies, like basically the entire second half of this season, is going to be all new to me. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
True. Very true. So now we're going into homeroom with our final thoughts. We'll start with you, Troy. Final thoughts on this film. What do you think?
I really liked it. So the first time I watched this, I kind of watched it passively and didn't enjoy it nearly as much as the second time I watched it, when I remembered I was going to be doing a podcast on it, and so I paid a lot more attention, and I liked it a lot better. Which obviously, that reflects on me, but I think it also reflects on the pacing of this movie. Is that there's just so many things happening that if you aren't really paying attention, it's very easy to lose track of plot points, because it's just so rapid fire. So I wish it had a little more room to breathe on some of those specific ideas. But I still think it was a really fun movie, and I really like seeing the wider Batman universe explored here. I like Batman. Batman, like all of us, I grew up on Batman. I love Batman, but it's very cool to see an exploration of like what a world impacted by Batman looks like, which I feel like this does with bringing in both Batwoman and Batwing. Even if I don't think they got enough time on their stories, Batwoman's was fine, but Batwing I feel like was underserved in this. So I wish he had had a little more time to shine. But other than that, I really liked it.
Yeah. Sly, final thoughts?
Yeah, a lot of movies, when we watch them, I'm either basically just letting them play all the way through and then quickly just jotting down notes throughout the way, or I am like having to pause every single time I want to write a note down, because I'm like, I need to fully devote my attention to like typing, and then I can go back to watching the movie. And this is one movie where I started it and I thought that I could just like type my notes as I was watching, and it was very quickly not the case. I had to rewind this movie so many times because I like missed out on all of the big like narrative development in the like 2 seconds I was looking down at my phone, right? Like there was one scene that I literally had to go back and try to rewatch 3 times because I got distracted during the dialogue setup every single time I tried to watch it, and then I had no idea what was happening next. So it's definitely like not a like turn your brain off and just throw it on in the background kind of movie, but I really enjoyed this film in general. And like I've always said, like Batman's my least favorite like Bat family member. Like he's great, I'm glad he's there, but he's always going to be the least interesting person to me. So to like narratively like take him out of the story for again like 90% of it, he's not Batman or not in his right mind. It's kind of the perfect proportionality for me of his character, where we get to explore all these other people. I do think it definitely needed like at least 15 more minutes to really flesh out some of the ideas it was trying to tackle. I think it was so many of these movies are served by the fact that they're targeting a certain age range and attention span, and I think this one wasn't given the full grace, and it didn't necessarily respect its audience's intelligence as much as it could have, where they were grappling with some really complex themes and they could have fleshed those out instead of making them offhanded mentions for like, if you are, able to pick that up, then you'll get this like huge aspect to a character. And if not, you like completely miss out on this developmental moment. And so, like, overall, like, I had a blast. Again, like I said, I probably won't remember much of this in a week. I, like, barely remembered even the people, like, the characters that were in this film when I was thinking about watching it. Like, oh, God. Like, 9 years ago? Gross. That's wrong. Sorry. Don't mind me having an age crisis over here. I'm supposed to be the literal child of the group. Like, what do you mean I was watching this movie 9 years ago? But yeah, no, great time. Really, it's a really thinky movie in a genre that does not necessarily uh cultivate thinky movies.
Yep. No, I agree. I really enjoyed this movie. And like I said, it comes off to me as a not like I'm not saying like a downer and like it's not, oh, it's a bad movie to watch. It's just like the bar we set with like you starting off with Justice League and Flashpoint Paradox. This just feels like ever so slightly a step down, like worldwideness. I mean, they do kind of ramp it up at the last couple minutes. Like, oh, like Tali's gonna take over all the world leaders, and then the League of the Shadows will run the world. Like, oh, okay, that's super important. Yeah, but it's like at the very end right there. This does feel like picking up a comic in a series, and it's just like we're still ramping up. It's still good. It's very quick, and at the end, you're like, oh man, I want more. Well, that was fun though. I really enjoyed what we watched. I agree with Troy. I think we could have got a little more Batwing. How they did it in the time frame, could have been better. Absolutely. I'm impressed that they got as much of him in there as
Yeah.
they could have, and if it not feeling horrible, but not feeling great. Kate does a great job in this. She's awesome. She's a great introduction to the Bat family and setting her up immediately with supportive family, her backstory, having Renee already established as this possible love interest for her, setting her up with the Bat family and the connection to that. And then, yeah, we don't get a lot of time to grapple with, you get a couple lines from Dick being like, I try to run away from this. I don't want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you don't really get it too from an acting standpoint from Sean Mayer. And that's not to, bemoan him and his acting or anything, but he comes to the realization of how important Bruce really is to him at the end when he's got a broken arm and Tali's about to fucking, Bruce is about to kill him. He's like sitting there like, no, you really are like important to me. Like you really are important to the world. Like you brought us together and like you've done something incredible here. And that realization I think is not just for Bruce. I think it's also for Dick to be like, I think I'm okay now. I think he comes to terms with like a lot of fucking past trauma and like being a child and then growing up, like now he's
Child
like,
soldier, literally.
yeah, he's coming through. He's like, there was a breakthrough for both of them at that moment. I felt like, but yeah, I think there's a lot of fun. I think another thing they could have really, kind of stuck upon more, other than like a couple scenes in like the end scene of the movie of Damien and Bruce and kind of talking. You don't hear their conversation about Talia. Is Damien coming to terms with like his mom is truly a villain. Like
Irredeemable.
yeah, and there's a difference because he's raised by the League of Shadows, to the point where he is like 10 or whatever. He, all he's known is that he has respect for his mother and he doesn't respect like he's trying a different way with Bruce, but there is a love there. And she in this movie shows her true colors betrays everything that he's known, and he doesn't really have time to kind of grapple with what she really is and his understanding of it. Like it's so breakneck speed that like Heretic dies in front of him. He doesn't get time to really process where he should have gotten like a couple minutes to be like, she is a monster. Like she is not a good person, you know? And then to then move on to be like, hey, then this and this and that. And then you get like the emotional end where like, you know, it looks like Talia might be dead. And Bruce comforting him in that moment at the end, like, and Alfred has this beautiful line where like, hey, like what's going on? And where they're talking about Talia. And he's like, even though, you know, she's done all these bad things, she still is his mother. And, you know, kind of coming to terms, but you don't get a lot of that in the film itself. You just get a throwaway line at the end, and that's how we end the movie.
I love that ending though. I love that we don't.
I do love the end. Yeah, I don't want to hear the conversation. I think it's important to have it, but I wish we just had like one or two moments of Damien wrapping his mind around in that moment and be like, holy shit, she is a monster.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I realized something that I think is kind of cool in you talking about how the stakes got escalated with suddenly Talia's going to take over the world. That was her plan the whole time. Like taking over Bruce was just a means to this plan. And like she's like, it'd be cool if I could get Bruce to kill his children. But her plan was to take over the minds of the world leaders, which means that it is truly Alfred Pennyworth who stopped Talia's plan. He's the one who shut down the brain control. Nobody else, just Alfred.
Yeah.
Alfred's the best. That's what I've been saying.
And he just went along. He's like, you know what? When we get back to the house, I want to make sandwiches and give you guys some tea. Like Alfred really is the best.
Yeah. Alfred, did you kill a guy today? Two. It was great.
At least.
Yeah. It took me back to my days. Yeah, it took me back to my days, man. I was killing people again. I felt that itch. His hand's still shaking from it. Like he's like, nah, I got the itch for murder again.
The thing
like I was gonna make a necklace, but Jarvis's head blew up with his ears, so I couldn't cut him off.
Nothing to do.
The problem with Alfred is like I don't think he yearns for murder, but I do think he yearns for the stage. And I really want to see a movie, a story, I don't care what format, where we really get Alfred embracing his like theater kid like self. And I don't think we've expanded enough on that, you know?
Yeah, and to be fair, that's too much of a tangent. I've never watched, I think it's on Max now, Alfred or Pennyworth, the TV.
Pennyworth.
Yeah, I've seen clips and it seems like it's like rated R. It's like sexy 60s, like spy thriller. And I'm like,
I'm like just
kind of.
Yeah, the problem with that is if it isn't about him being in a throuple with Thomas and Martha, I don't want it.
It might be though. I think there might be something there.
Is it?
I think there. I don't know. I think there might be something there.
I'm not a purveyor of fan fiction. I have been directed to some wonderful fan fiction by friends of mine.
If you ever want any recommendations, let me know.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that I have one friend in particular. She's great. I'll probably tell her to listen to this because she loves Batman. Who has directed me some lovely Peter Parker, Tony Stark fan fiction. I've never considered Jarvis and the Wayne, or not Jarvis, Alfred and the Waynes. That has not occurred to me, and I just don't.
It's a thing.
I'm deeply troubled by this. I need some time to process.
You don't want a really angsty fic about like Alfred grappling with losing like the two loves of his lives and now having to raise this child who he doesn't get to like have any sort of like paternal like relations with. He just like is like servant.
Without him being a couple with Bruce's parents, like that's all there already. But that's a complicated dynamic to add into that equation.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
It's delicious.
That might be if we ever launch a Patreon, that might be a Patreon exclusive. We might have to do Pennyworth the whole season.
Us reading fan fiction?
No, I meant Pennyworth, all 3 seasons of Pennyworth.
Okay, we should watch Pennyworth.
I mean, the fan fiction's a good idea too, though. Like
True, that would work.
I've sent Carlos some. I don't know if he's ever opened any of them, but
I had to sit down and do it. I am afraid. There is a fear opening up. Like, what's gonna happen?
It's interesting. It is an interesting. Like fanfiction's an interesting playground.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. Like I'm deeply impressed by fanfiction, even though I haven't read much of it. Anyway.
All right. And before we wrap up, for the audience out there, you guys have some homework to do, which is Justice League versus Teen Titans. That's the next movie in our series. But before we dismiss class, we're going to go around the horn and promote our stuff. We'll start with our guests. Troy, where can people find you?
Sure. I'm on Blue Sky and hanging out in a bunch of discords that probably overlap with you if you're listening to this show. And yeah, like I said, I do podcasts and I also write at geek2geekmedia.com. But the best place to find me is on Blue Sky. And look up Podcasters Assemble. That's the thing I want to shout out, because Podcasters Assemble is a very cool community driven project that anybody, even we kind of started it with people who make podcasts, but anybody can send in their thoughts. And we're doing Back to the Future is the next run of movies that I say we're doing. Like I said, I started the show and now other people drive it, and it's great. So they're going to make me some bespoke Back to the Future podcasts, and if you want to be a part of those, you should look up Podcasters Assemble.
That's honestly the dream. Like, if I
It's
could just
great.
start all of the podcasts I want in the world
right.
and then have other people do them for me.
It's so nice.
Ideal.
Probablywork.com is the website for Podcasters Assemble. I should have said that. Probablywork.com.
It's a great name by the way. That's a great name for a website.
That is our podcast network. The website's crap right now because we had a issue with the host basically inadvertently deleted everything, but it's got links to find where to submit and all that kind of stuff.
Which is important. Sly, where can people find you?
You can find me on TikTok. That's right. We've made our glorious return. Thirsty Thursdays, now Served Up Sundays, are back to our roots. We're making silly little TikTok lives. Same day, same time. Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific. That's when we do our show. I should know. We do it every week. Right now, finishing up our thoughts on the season of 911 and Dr. Odyssey. We have a very exciting plan for a bit of a pilot that we're going to do this summer. Maybe diving a little bit deeper into the broad analysis of network television as a whole, some ideas for some more literary content, with a lot of really exciting stuff being developed as we go into the summer season of TV. So go check out JJ at JJBWayWatch and myself at LikeLetMC. We'll be live on TikTok. I'm also starting in order to remember that in order to make lives successful, you kind of have to post content on TikTok. I'm trying to revitalize that. And how I'm currently doing that is I'm going to do a weekly TBR video where I tell you all the books I want to read every week and see if I could bully myself into reading them instead of just spending all of my time reading fan fiction. So far this week, I've not been very successful, but we'll see how it goes.
This week's Sly
and of course,
failed.
you can find me on Point of Progress as always.
Yeah.
And I'm here.
Yeah, same here. You can find me at Point in Progress, where we got this show, DC Graduates. It's on audio podcast as well. So if you're watching the video, go to your favorite audio podcast, subscribe, 5 stars, all that junk. Similar, if you're listening, go to video, subscribe, like, hit the bell icon, all that stuff. We have other content we do too. We are also going to be, well, at least I am going to be ramping up soon and start filming at least our 3rd season of It's Not a Loop. It's a Spiral, which would be, it's not a loop, it's Control. I'll be playing through Remedy's Controls.
I'm very excited.
And all the DLC that came with that. Because we have Quantum Break as of recording. Final episode should be out. So it's not a loop, it's a Quantum Break, which is season 2. All should be done. You can check it out, at youtube.com/pointinprogress. And then I've been same thing, bullying myself with other content, slowly trying to get back to Nerd Today and going back to, getting some videos out, maybe some breaking news, talking about it, sitting down, giving my thoughts on like a new Xbox handheld that's been rumored or whatever that may be. And then we have some other stuff too. We got some cool opportunities in our email, and I got one answer back from Frank. So we'll see if Fee and Mario might be interested in doing a watch party and review on this special documentary. And that's all I'll tease from now. But hopefully the video's up. Who knows? Depending on time frame and everyone's schedules. But till next time, class is dismissed.
Bye.